Hi everyone, and welcome back to Psychology of Attraction, the place where we break down human behavior, relationships, and all the psychological tricks that shape how we connect with others. If you've ever felt like people constantly overstep your limits, like you give too much in relationships or feel guilty for saying no, this video is for you. Today, we're re-diving into something that can literally change the way you experience love and connection: boundaries. But we're not just talking about saying no or building walls. We're unpacking the psychology behind why boundaries are so hard to set, how manipulative people react when you do, and why healthy relationships thrive on limits, not lose them because of it. So grab your tea, coffee, or journal, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to protect your peace, stop being emotionally drained, and build connections rooted in respect. Let's get started. What are boundaries? Really, boundaries are not about controlling others. They're about communicating clearly with yourself and the people in your life. Think of them as emotional fences, not walls, fences, with a gate. They define what's okay and what's not, without shutting people out. Examples: saying, "I'm not okay with being yelled at," or "I need alone time to recharge, even though I care about you." Boundaries allow you to honor your energy, your values, and your emotional safety. And the truth is, if you don't set them, people will walk all over you. Not because they're evil, but because you're showing them that it's okay. Signs your boundaries are too weak. So how do you know you've got a boundary issue? Here are some signs. You feel resentful but still say yes. You replay conversations in your head wishing you spoke up. You avoid conflict at all costs. You feel drained after interacting with certain people. You over-explain your decisions just to make people feel okay. These are signs of emotional self-abandonment. You're prioritizing others' comfort over your own well-being, and that's not sustainable. Often this comes from childhood. Maybe your boundaries were ignored growing up. Maybe love was conditional, only given when you pleased others. If that sounds familiar, you're not broken. You were programmed to keep the peace at your own expense. But you can rewire that, right now. Why people push boundaries, and why you let them. Boundary violations come in many forms. Some are subtle, people calling you selfish for needing time alone, her partner pushing for things after you've said no, a friend who gets cold when you don't prioritize them. What's happening here is psychological manipulation, whether it's conscious or not. And when you don't push back, it sends a message that this behavior is okay. Here's why we let it happen. Fear of rejection. If I say no, they'll leave me. Low self-worth. Maybe I am being dramatic. Guilt. They're struggling, I should be there for them. But ask yourself, who's there for you when you're struggling? If it's always one-sided, that's not connection, it's emotional servitude. How narcissists react to boundaries. If you want to know how someone really feels about you, set a boundary. Narcissists hate boundaries. Why? Because boundaries interrupt their control. You're no longer predictable, you're no longer available 24/7. You're no longer shrinking yourself to meet their needs. Here's how they respond. Guilt tripping. Wow, I guess I can't count on you anymore. Gaslighting. You're too sensitive, it wasn't even a big deal. Withdrawing. The silent treatment as punishment. Love bombing, then punishment. Kindness used as leverage. This isn't love, it's power disguised as connection. Healthy love doesn't fear boundaries, it respects them. How to set boundaries without feeling guilty. Let's break this down into a 3-part formula you can start using today. Step 1. Name the behavior when you cancel plans last minute. Step 2. State how it affects you. Fine, I feel disrespected and like my time doesn't matter. Step 3. Set the boundary. So in the future I need more notice or I won't be available. Short, calm, firm, no drama. You don't need to scream, argue, or explain 10 times. Boundaries don't require the other person's approval. They require your consistency. What real love does with your boundaries. Here's the good news. When someone loves you in a healthy way, they may not always like your boundary at first, but they will respect it. They won't guilt you. They won't punish you. They'll talk with you. They'll grow with you. Because true intimacy isn't about unlimited access. It's about mutual respect and emotional safety. In fact, boundaries build trust. They show that you know yourself, value yourself, and are capable of loving someone without losing your identity. Trauma, fawning, and the fear of saying no. Let's talk about something deeper: fawning. You've probably heard of fight, flight, and freeze. But there's a fourth trauma response: fawn, and it's the one most misunderstood in relationships. Fawning is the act of people-pleasing as a survival strategy. You minimize your needs, avoid confrontation, and over-accommodate others, all to feel safe. This usually develops in childhood, when saying no or expressing emotions led to punishment, guilt, or emotional withdrawal from your caregivers. So what happens? You learn love, staying quiet, connection, compliance, boundaries, danger. But here's the truth. Your needs are not a burden. Your no is not a betrayal. Your self-worth is not conditional. And every time you set a healthy boundary, you're reteaching your nervous system that you are safe, even if someone disapproves. This takes time. It's not about being perfect. It's about progress. Scripts for real-life boundary situations. Let us go over some real-life examples of how to set boundaries without sounding harsh or without spiraling into guilt afterward. A friend who trauma dumps on you constantly. You know I care about you, but I'm not in the headspace to talk about heavy stuff today. Can we check in another time? A partner who mocks your sensitivity. I want to feel emotionally safe with you. When you make jokes about my feelings, it makes me shut down. I need that to change. A family member who pressures you during the holidays. I love spending time with you, but I need to balance that with rest. I'll join dinner, but I won't be staying overnight. These statements are not about control. They're about clarity. You're not asking for permission. You're stating your terms with grace. You're not responsible for how someone reacts. You're responsible for honoring your truth. Rebuilding self-trust. After years of weak boundaries. One of the biggest side effects of never setting boundaries is this. You stop trusting yourself. You second-guess your feelings. You outsource your decisions. You tolerate too much because you doubt your own limits. So how do you rebuild self-trust? Here's how. Start small. Say no to something tiny, like a request that you usually say yes to out of habit. Notice how the world doesn't end. Tune into your body. Your body knows before your brain does. Tight chest, lump in the throat, gut discomfort. That's your internal boundary system saying, hey, we're not okay with this. Celebrate your wins. Every time you set a boundary, no matter how awkward, celebrate it. Journal it. Reflect on it. Remind yourself, I am allowed to protect my peace. Surround yourself with people who get it. Healing happens faster in safe environments. Spend time with people who respect your time, your values, and your no. So, to wrap this up, boundaries aren't selfish, they're sacred. They are the language of self-worth. You don't have to yell, you don't have to fight. You just have to be clear, calm, and committed to your own peace. Because when you protect your boundaries, you protect your future. You protect the version of you that's finally free from guilt, resentment, and emotional exhaustion. If no one ever told you, you are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to say no without explanation. You are allowed to be loved without having to lose yourself. Why boundaries matter. The foundation. Boundaries are invisible lines that separate your thoughts, feelings, needs, and energy from someone else's. They define where you end and they begin. But boundaries aren't just about saying no. They're about saying yes to yourself. They're how you teach people to treat you. There are 4 core types of boundaries. Emotional, you are not a dumping ground or fixer for others' pain. Mental, your beliefs and opinions are valid, even if others disagree. Physical, your space and body are yours to protect. Time, your hours and energy are not on loan to everyone else. Lack of boundaries, that's when you overgive, over-explain, and feel chronically resentful. You become the emotional sponge, and everyone else gets to stay dry. Why we struggle with boundaries. People-pleasing, trauma, and the fawn response. Most of us didn't learn healthy boundaries growing up. We learned survival, especially if love was conditional. If you fawn, people-please, over-accommodate, avoid conflict, it's likely you were taught that saying no means rejection. But here's the truth. People who can't handle your no were never safe for your yes. Your nervous system wires itself to keep the peace, even if it costs your identity. This is why setting boundaries often feels unsafe, even though it is the path to safety. Boundary myths that keep you stuck. Let's bust some myths. Boundaries are selfish? No, they're self-respect in action. They'll leave if I set a limit. If that's true, they weren't loving you. They were using you. If I really care, I should always be available. Care without capacity is codependency. Healthy boundaries don't destroy real relationships. They reveal who can meet you in truth and who was only there for what they could get. Boundaries in action. How narcissists react to your boundaries. The moment you begin to say no, reclaim your energy, or stop explaining yourself, you'll notice a shift. Narcissists, or emotionally immature people, will react like this. Guilt tripping. After everything I've done for you. Gaslighting. You're being too sensitive. Stonewalling. They withdraw or punish you emotionally. Smearing. They tell others you've changed. This isn't a sign you're doing something wrong. It's proof your boundary worked. Real-life scripts to use. Here are 4 practical boundary-setting scripts. When someone trauma dumps, I want to support you, but I'm not in the right headspace right now. Can we talk later? When a partner mocks your feelings, when you make jokes about my emotions, I shut down. I need more respect in our communication. When a friend takes advantage of your time, I can't make it today. I've been overextending myself, and I need a day to recharge. When family tries to guilt trip you, I love you, but that doesn't mean I'll always agree or say yes. My needs matter too. Rebuilding self-trust. Every time you set a healthy boundary, you prove to your inner child that your voice matters, that you can choose yourself without guilt, that you're not responsible for managing other people's feelings or reactions. Start small. Say no to something minor. Watch your body's reaction. Don't apologize for protecting your peace. Celebrate it. Boundaries don't push the right people away. They push the wrong ones out and let the right ones in. Let me know in the comments, what's one boundary you're going to set this week? And don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone who's on a healing journey just like you. This is Psychology of Attraction, where we explore the truth behind love, trauma, and the power of emotional clarity. So until next time, protect your peace.